In Bridgerton 3, a lot of stories were happening alongside Poland's romantic plot, but now a part of that story may soon be making it into another spin-off series, which is absolutely going to be insane. Bridgerton 4 has been confirmed to come out in 2 years with the showrunner. Many people have been wondering why it would take that long to work on 8 episodes of a show. However, even though the long-time production frame is to make the next season a perfection, another main reason could be that the cast and crew might be busy shooting another spin-off series similar to Queen Charlotte in the gap year, which is going to be about Violet. Before now, Bridgerton have always been releasing their show between a little over a year or 2, with season 1 released in 2020 and season 2 following in 2022. The waiting period between seasons 2 and 3 was used to produce the limited series Queen Charlotte, which came out in 2023. So between 2024 and 2026, before another season pops out, we might get to see a very thrilling and detailed love story regarding Violet, which Shonda Rhimes herself has teased.
I think Violet's story is going to be pretty interesting.
Shonda made mention of this at the premiere of Queen Charlotte in London, which means they've been thinking about this even before Bridgerton 3 was released. She even mentioned it another time in May 2023 on IMDb.
Who would you also like to see get the next Bridgerton spinoff?
Violet is fascinating, and there's a story to be told there.
In Queen Charlotte, we didn't only get to see the backstory behind the Queen, her struggles, and the issues with her children not making an heir, but we also got to see Lady Danbury's marriage to Lord Danbury and the affair she had with Violet's father. So even though Lady Danbury is a beloved character who deserves her own standalone story, we've basically seen everything about her at this point, because when her brother Lord Marcus was introduced, more details about her life and why she was really mad at him were further exposed. Although we also saw the younger version of Violet, there was nothing much revealed about her. In season 3, when she spoke with Lady Danbury about the affair with her father, she handled the case brilliantly in a very emotional way, and you can tell there's more about Violet we are yet to see. One thing that's very clear about Violet, though, is that she's a kind woman, which radiates in how she raised her children, and that she's particular about love matches because she experienced a great one herself with Edmund. And throughout the relationships of her married children, she always ensured they all get a love match, because if she could experience something that great, then her kids deserve even that and more, hence the dramatic romance in the show. But what makes Violet's story a must-see is because her story is kind of bittersweet. After all, Edmund passed away in his prime at 39 years of age when she was pregnant with her last child. However, before all the pain, there were a lot of sweet memories, which would be great to see in her spin-off series. Also, it might interest you to know that there's an element of sadness and happiness in the first spin-off, Queen Charlotte, as well. The Queen herself had a very great match with King George, with their immense attraction and love for each other as they went ahead to birth many children. But the depressing thing about their story is the fact that King George battled with a mental illness throughout, which added sorrow to their union and tested the Queen's commitment to her husband. Lady Danbury also went through a terrible marriage with a selfish man and only got to experience what true pleasure feels like between a couple after her husband became deceased. So even though many fans know where Violet's story ends, they also would love to see how it all started. According to Violet, she had a crazy attraction to Viscount Edmund, as she could hardly say her name when they first met. So they definitely had a lot of spicy moments together, because even while mourning Edmund, she said he's her heir, and without him, it's definitely hard to breathe. More of their romantic relationship together, from the explorations they had and the happy moments with their kids, would make it into the spin-off series if Shondaland decides to pursue that. Also, when Edmund was alive, it's obvious they were both excellent parents to their children, and the reason why they are one big family who, despite their differences, have such a peaceful and thriving energy that helps even more of their reputation in society. And it was this great family culture that continued after their father was gone. Violet, being a fan of love matches, would be better understood by how much devotion and attention Edmund showered her with. The character also couldn't understand at first the kind of love John and Francesca have for each other because it wasn't what she was used to. Even Benedict had to advise John to do something extra by throwing rocks at Francesca's window and stop being careful. And that means Violet had a very dramatic, loud, and intense love story with Edmund, which could even be spicy and crazier than what we've seen so far in the Bridgerton franchise. Aside from the beautiful moments that will be in their relationship, the spin-off would also focus on some of the challenges they had during their marriage, especially the early years. In season 1, Violet spoke to Daphne when she was having issues with Simon, saying that her marriage to Edmund wasn't perfect too, as it wasn't just all fireworks and butterflies, as they had many problems they had to get through together as a couple. Another interesting thing about Violet and Edmund's relationship is that we will get to know what inspired them to name all their children in the order of the alphabet. However, just like in Queen Charlotte, the spin-off about Violet would be showing the backstory and the present-day happenings in the Tun. So it won't all just be about the sad ending that could occur to Edmund in the prequel, as the pain could be cut out to show herself experiencing romance anew with Marcus. Like Violet said when speaking about how she stuttered after meeting Edmund, she also did something similar twice when she met Marcus. Just like Lady Danbury's steamy scenes in the show, Violet enjoying exciting moments with Marcus will be shown too. As adults in the Bridgerton era, the production will get to touch on the complicated topic of whether Marcus and Violet would need to marry before getting steamy with each other, or if they would have to have an affair, which would be known to everyone. But the interesting thing about how this new relationship will take off is that Violet's hesitation will be seen on screen, even though she has been anticipating getting her garden mowed and groomed. And the main reason would be that she had a special kind of love with Edmund, and he's the only man that she ever knew before Marcus. She also revealed to Lady Danbury in Queen Charlotte that for a long time, since Edmund passed away, she hadn't felt any desire to be with a man until that moment when she told Lady Danbury that her garden was blooming out of control. So that's one of the reasons why she even felt attracted to Marcus, which shows she might be ready to open up herself to love again. In the end, Violet would finally be able to let Edmund go and be at peace with the fact that she deserves a second chance at love. So that's to say the beginning of the relationship between Marcus and Violet wouldn't be entirely rosy, even though she loves and wants him because of her long-term attachment to her ex-husband. Interestingly, her new relationship will also give her additional insight into how to approach Benedict's love story and her unmarried children's affairs in the future. And once Violet has let go of the past great love to accept a new one, there would be no more hindrance to the blooming romance between herself and Marcus, except maybe Anthony. Although it's been really obvious that Marcus has an interest in Violet, Anthony, who's now the head of the house and was away in India when their relationship became serious, might be really furious about it, which isn't unlikely. Anthony has been very protective of his family with how he fought Simon over Daphne, and in the same light, he would try to protect his mother till he eventually comes around in the spin-off series. What makes Violet who she isn't just her interesting love story with Edmund, but also how she grew up. In Queen Charlotte, we see how she's more like her father, Lord Ledger, who's an open-minded person compared to her very strict mother. In the history of Violet's early years with her children and deceased husband, she used to make birthday hats for Edmund and her children like her father did for her. So even though she may have had a strained relationship with her mother, it was her father who truly shaped who she is, and one of the reasons why she was more drawn to an affectionate man when she grew older. However, her real situation with her mother could also make it into her spin-off series. In season 3, she told Lady Danbury that she would always remember her father as a great man even though she knew he cheated on her mother, and how Lord Ledger's marriage became complicated and the effect on Violet herself would also shed more light on her character. With how a few moments in Bridgerton 3 and Queen Charlotte have hinted at Violet's backstory, the original writer of the series, Julia Quinn, has been asked if she would write about the character, and she said Violet already has a a minor story called Violet in Bloom, which is among a collection in the Bridgertons' Happily Ever After. But it's not a standalone, and she promised to let the fans know once that changes. However, since Lord Marcus isn't in the Bridgerton books, Julia Quinn could co-write a new book with Shonda Rhimes for Violet that talks about her past love story, and a second one as they co-wrote Queen Charlotte before making it into a show. And recently at the premiere, Ruth Gemmell, who plays the adult Violet, and the younger cast, Connie Jenkins-Gregg, were pictured together, which means they might be linking up to get started on the new spin-off series.